And actually, I think I can jump in on this too, because I teach private lessons now. And even though I'm in the place where I grew up, I didn't have like a lot of notoriety. So what I did is I emailed those music educators in the schools around where I teach, and I said, hey, I'm going to offer this one free time lesson for a student for the first time as like a trial lesson, and then if they want to stay, then it's going to be like a certain amount, dependent. And that's really how I've made my lessons. Is I kind of offered that incentive. I said, oh, here's this free thing, and then if they want to stay, they can stay.
Okay, I have a question for you guys to answer. I want to know, what are you most scared of in the internship process? So what is stressing you out and what is scaring you thinking about applying and being in internships? Yeah, financial stability is a big one, and it's a big one for our generation, and it's an even bigger one for this time, because a lot of our financial incomes on various levels have stopped because of COVID-19. So that is something that is definitely a challenge. But my biggest advice to you is, number one, start saving now, because it seems silly and everybody always tells you that. People told me like 20 times when I was in college. But if I would have not saved, I know I see Dr. Oldarczyk, she told me from day one. But if I wouldn't have saved, and I saved like a chunk of change just saving $10 a month from my freshman year until my senior year. And that paid for most of my internship. Also, finding resources. My internship site found me a place to live for free. So I didn't have to pay rent, which significantly helped me out. Finding a place closer to home if you're worried about financial stuff, because that is going to help you lower your cost of rent and lower your cost of living. If you're living with a parent, maybe you can eat their food. Also, like when you start to network with groups, something that I did in my internship is I would go to like church events, even if I wasn't affiliated with the church, because I got free food. And then I would have meals, and I would be meeting all these people from my community to make these connections, but I got free food out of it, which was really nice. Let's see, there's more starting to come in. Changes from COVID-19. Yes, it's a scary time, and it would be lying to say it's not scary, because everything in our world was kind of turned upside down, and we're kind of going one day at a time, right? So it's scary, and to be honest, your internships might be changed because of it. We don't know how long things are going to be closed, but what you can do is that it's a great time for you to learn how to adapt, and you to learn how to make the best and the positive out of the situation, and to learn that flexibility so that when the world does start again, you get to have this awesome flexibility. And you're like, you know what? I just went through one of the worst experiences of my life, and I didn't get to touch or give anyone a hug for like 6 months. But now I know how to be flexible. Let's see. The next one is not getting into the things I want. Does anybody else want to speak to that, about not getting into the internship that you want? Yeah, Dr. Oldarczyk.
Well, I'll just throw in that you're going to learn something in every single internship. I mean, there's not one internship you could possibly do where you would come out and not learn anything. And so I know that it's disappointing when you don't get the one you want, but also remember that the objective of the internship is to graduate. So you have the rest of your life to explore different populations in different jobs and different settings for the rest of your career. Try to get the internship you want, try to get one of your top 5, but I'll tell you what, in the end, you want your diploma. So if it turns out that you have to take one that was actually your 10th choice, you will learn something, I promise.
Okay, let's see. Being overwhelmed with the initial workload and stress from transition. So does anybody on our panel want to talk about that? I can talk about it. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a transition. And with any transition that you have in life, it's going to feel different. And there are going to be things that are not great and that you're not used to. And there are going to be things that are really awesome and a lot better. Like you don't really have homework anymore and you don't have to write essays, which is really, really nice. You don't have to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning to finish that essay. So the biggest thing is that you're going to continue to have transitions for the rest of your life. You're going to go through your internship and you're going to have to transition to a professional. You're probably going to have a handful, if not more, jobs in your life, which is each going to be a transition. So having an internship where you get to transition and have this transition in a really safe place where you have a supervisor that's there to like hold your hand and support you is a great way to start learning how to transition. And that's why supervisors and directors are there. They're there to help us, and they're there to make us become music therapists. No one wants us to fail. They want us to succeed. That's why we're there. That's why they accepted interns. The next one is confidence in general, just being overwhelmed by the application process itself. Does anybody want to speak to that on our panel?
I think for me, that was not always a problem, but also like throughout college and that experience, knowing when it was important for me to take the time to work on myself, whether or not that was through just like personal work or professional work. So knowing when like, hey, maybe I should go see a therapist, maybe I should reach out to other people for a more objective approach there. So that was something that would help me along those lines.
Looks like another one is guitar competency and repetitive injury. I know that that's something I was really scared of because guitar is not my first instrument. Before I was even a music therapy major, I was trying to be on Broadway. So I was just a singer. I didn't know how to play any instruments. All I knew was how to use my voice. So I was terrified going into my internship. But the more you do it, the more you learn. So learn how to love the guitar for yourself. Play things for yourself. And learn how to enjoy it. The more you practice, the easier it's going to get. And the more you do it in front of people, the easier it gets too. So play for your friends and play for your family. And when you're in your internship, you're going to have to use your instruments all the time. So you're going to naturally get better at it without even really trying. What about not getting one and also being shy / not liking to meet new people? Yes. That's a great question. So what do you do if you don't get accepted to an internship? Does anybody want to talk about that?
Can I answer, Jordan? This is one that resonates with me because I had a professor who always used to tell us, act your way into a new way of thinking. So if there's some quality that you want to have or something that, so if you're shy, just start trying to act like you're just more extroverted and then eventually you will come into that. And so, and it really works because I used it before many times. So it does work. And so I think just being secure in yourself and, start working on that. If you are a shy person, at school or in your community, just make that plan to just be the first person to go up and say hi and introduce yourself. And you'll slowly get past that. But I think you'd be shocked to find out how many music therapists are actually introverts. And so this is actually a common concern. And so I think that's just a personality quality that you can work on. So it'll be okay.
Okay, so it looks like our next one is doing the whole audition process and getting one of the top 3 internships. So I think you're asking like just getting that like thought process of having to go through the audition process and then like getting accepted to these top internships. That's how I'm interpreting that. But yes, that's terrifying. And the idea of becoming a performer again, because that's what I felt like when I did my internship audition. Like I had where I talked to my supervisor, but then I had the part where they're just like, okay, play music for us. And that's really embodying, you are a musician. You're a music therapist, but you're a musician and you're a performer too. Think of all of the training that you got through your college. Think of all of the performance groups that you were in. Think of all the times you got to get up and do a jury. You are a performer, and so just getting up and doing it and doing what you know, because you got it. You have 4 years of college where you've been preparing for it. Okay, I think we have some questions now, so I'll turn it back to Dr.
Okay, this is for Dr. Wodarczyk. It says it's kind of specific and far into the future. I plan on going to the Peace Corps after internship. Do you have any tips for maintaining skills while not actively practicing music therapy and finding a job post returning?
Well, as you may have heard, we have had one student from Drury who did go to the Peace Corps after her internship, and she, even though her Peace Corps job was not music-based or music therapy-based, she found ways to bring music into her Peace Corps job every day. And so my advice would be to connect with her, and if I haven't done that, connected you, I will do that. But to just find, you have to be creative. You have to find ways to make your job in the Peace Corps musical and keep your instruments up. And if you want to do it, you can. That's about all I got on that one.
Yeah, I was in the process of applying during my internship for the Peace Corps, so I can talk to you a bit about that. It was a stressful process to have to do all of that paperwork and get all of the shots that you might need and things like that. And in the end, I was accepted, but then medically declined because of prior mental health concerns. So just like when you're going through that application, know that like you still might be turned down even if you have been provisionally accepted.
Okay, this one is, I worry that my musical skills and abilities may not be enough for internship sites or what they're looking for. How do you recommend that I work on my primary instruments for therapy?
I'll jump in on this one. Hi, everybody.